It's John 15, verse 1 through 4. It says, I am the true vine, and my Father is the vineyard keeper. If every branch in me that does not produce fruit, he will remove. And he prunes every branch that produces fruit, so that it will produce more fruit. And basically, I guess, what I want to try to cover today is, why are you guys going to college? Why are you here? What are you looking for? I think most kids, I know when I went to the junior college here, and when I went to Auburn, and Troy for a little while, we're looking to better our life. We're looking to further our education. We're looking to get to a point where we can be productive in life and successful in life. But I'll challenge you that if you're not plugged into the vine that is Christ, then your life will never truly be successful. And the reason I say that, I'll share a quick personal story of Heather and I, how we started the waste hauling company. If you see BMI, Barrymore Industries, that is our company. It has 3 or 4 subsidiaries. We started it in about 2001, and it was the largest owned private waste hauling company in this area, in this region. And as far as I know, still is. We're not traded publicly. But I'll tell you how that happened. One day the Lord spoke to me and said, hey, Barry, I was kind of seeking. I was almost going to youth ministry. I thought the Lord had called me to go into ministry. And I didn't know what to do except to yield to God. And say, okay, Lord, if you want me to be in the ministry, you open the door. And so we went to even visit with Brother Mac in Mississippi to try to figure out if we were supposed to go into ministry. And during that process, like Heather said, we've been teaching Sunday school for years over at Hillcrest. And during the process, we just yielded to God and said, Lord, whatever it is you want us to do, you just tell us. And we'll be faithful to do that. Now, that's not to say that I'm not always perfectly faithful, but what I'm telling you is if you want to produce fruit in your life, true success comes being plugged into the vine, which is God's will for your life. And so, as I began to look at ideas, and God opened the opportunity for us to get in the waste hauler business, when I knew it was Him, and I knew that that's where I was supposed to be, I said, okay, Lord, I don't know why you want me to be a garbage man, but whatever it is you call me to do, I'm going to do. And so, sure enough, the Lord began to open doors, and I can tell you there was miracles after miracle after miracle of how we got into business and how we built what we built as our company today. And even to the point now that I'm running for office for the House of Representatives, God really just trusts us as stewards. Y'all remember the story in the Bible where He left the servants to manage the fields while the master went away? And He trusted them with a certain number of talents, right? Well, when God trusts you with something, you need to make the most of it. Now, that's not to say He's going to trust us all with the same things. That's not the way He works. But if you're a good steward, He can trust you with more. And so what happened is, I called Heather coming back from Gulf Shores, Alabama, and I said, baby, I think the Lord wants us to go in the garbage business. And she was thinking, do what? And I said, yeah, I think He wants us to go in the waste hauling business, yeah. And so I came back to Enterprise, and Heather, unbeknownst to me, this was a Friday. She started praying, Lord, if this is your will, then I'm going to need a sign. People always praying for God to give them a sign, So, and I'm thinking, I've got a piece about this, and Heather's praying for a sign, and she's not telling me she's praying for a sign. She's just saying, God, give me a sign. Monday, I was in New Providence a few years ago, and I was at a little barbecue restaurant over there, and a guy from Atlanta, Georgia was with my brother. We were sitting there eating lunch, and he said, Bear, what are you going to do now that you sold your highway construction company? I said, Jerry, I said, I don't know how to explain this to you, but I'm going to the waste hauling business. He said, waste hauling? He said, that's the industry I'm in. He said, you going to the Waste Expo next week in New Orleans? I said, what's a Waste Expo? He said, man, that's where everybody is. If you're in the garbage business, you got to be there. He said, as a matter of fact, he said, I've got 2 tickets to it in my car. They're like $200-300 a piece. He said, they're free to you because we had some people that couldn't come. So he goes out in the car and he gives me these 2 tickets to the Waste Expo. He comes in and says, hey, you're going to need a place to stay. One of our sales reps can't make it. We've got a reservation at Holiday Inn Express right across from the expo hall. You can have the room too. All you have to do is pay the fee for the room. Wow. And so I come home with Heather and I said, hey, baby, I said, look here. I said, I've got 2 tickets to this Waste Expo. She said, what? I said, yeah, and I really, it was reserved months back. The guys won't be able to make it. So Heather's thinking, she's got her sign. I'm thinking, I didn't know she was looking for one, So we got down there, got to the Waste Expo, and I made these rounds. And Jerry told me about this city in the North Alabama that was selling some used garbage cans. They're normally $400 or $500 a piece. I bought them for $35 a piece. Went up there and got them. Came down here and started sanding and painting garbage cans. Well, in the meantime, I don't have a garbage truck. I don't have a front load truck. Those things are about $200 grand a piece, new. 180,000, something like that. I'm sitting in Sunday school with a Ray Boyd, guy that teaches Sunday school with me one Sunday morning. He said, Ray, what are you going to do? I said, Ray, I know this sounds crazy, but I think I'm going in the waste business. old front-load garbage truck. He said, it's over
He's a farmer now.
He's a farmer now. He had an old front-load garbage truck that he's fixing to sell at Dean Co-auction over here in Dothan, Alabama for $6,000. So I went over there, y'all, it was a horrible old truck. But I got it, and I drove it home, and that thing built our business on the back of a $6,000 truck and a bunch of $35 used waste hauling cans with tickets to the Waste Expo. But one even the bigger story in that process is when you're seeking God, He just puts things together. You don't have to do it yourself. You just got to trust Him and know that He's in it. And we were down there, and what's that guy that owns Dragon Products?
Crenshaw.
Will Crenshaw. I bumped into Will Crenshaw at the Waste Expo in New Orleans, Louisiana. And he said, Barry, he said, I understand you went in the front load business. I said, yes, sir, Mr. Will, I think that's what we're going to do. He said, well, what about roll-offs? Have you thought about that? And I said, well, Mr. Will, I said, not really. He said, well, you need to look at that. You need to think about it. He said, that's a good business. Construction's booming. This is back, whatever it was, 03, 04. And I said, okay, Mr. Will. Well, he had a daughter named Heather. He took a liking to our family. And he's a little older than us. He's probably about 60, 65. We came back, and I got to talking to some construction friends of mine. I said, y'all think we could do the roll-offs with you? I said, yeah, man. Says, we got waste management right now. If y'all could do that, that'd be fantastic. And so I called Will Crenshaw, and I said, Mr. Will, I think I'd like to give you some of them roll-off containers. And he said, Barry, how many do you want? They're $3,000 a piece at the time. He said, you're going to need at least 50 of them, maybe 100 of them to get started. So there was $150,000 or $300,000, either way you looked at it, And I'm like, that's a lot of money. So Will Crenshaw called me and said, I'll tell you what to do. He said, you just tell me how many you want, and I'll ship them to you. And I said, do what? He said, yeah, and he said, then I'll have my banker friend. He owned a finance company, owned manufacturing plants around the world. And he sent a fellow down here, I'll never forget it, came down here to sign the paperwork, and he walked in my office and he said, man, I don't know what you said to Will Crenshaw. He said, but he handed me some paperwork and said, get this guy approved. And he said, when you shipping the cans? He said, I've already shipped them to him. So a man without knowing me, not having a social security number, not having a signature on a sheet of paper, sent me $300,000 worth of roll-up containers. But when God's in something, and you're into what God wants you to do, He can make you a success in life. It doesn't matter what it is. You just got to be willing to be obedient. You just got to plug in. Now, with that said, there is no place in God's kingdom for greedy people, or there's no place for self-absorbed people. You got to really be looking for what God wants in your life. And y'all, it's not to say that everything's perfect. I got 2 trucks broke down this morning as we speak right now, and we're running behind. But I know that at the end of the day, hey, it's not up to me, it's up to Him. And so I encourage you in life to start looking to plug into the vine. Whatever it is, if God wants you to be a garbage man, be a garbage man. If He wants you to be a street sweeper, you be a street sweeper. If He wants you to run for public office, you run for public office. If He wants you to be a minister, you be a minister. But what I'm saying is do what God wants you to do. That's where you'll find your peace. That's where you'll find your success. That's how you'll be successful.